So hello everyone. Welcome to today's water cooler chat where we talk about all things Livepeer, whether it's orchestrating, delegating, broadcasting, transcoding, or AI inference jobs. We're here to ask questions and get answers. So we have a couple things on our topics for today. We also have a Q&A session coming up later when Tim is available to join us. He did message me. He's at a current meeting right now, a little tied up. So hopefully in the later part of the hour, he can join us. So that'll be a Q&A session with Tim. He's with Flock to talk about their AI training models and how we could potentially incorporate their training models into Livepeer using their open source kind of collective data set. So we'll jump into that later. In the meantime, let's move on with some topics that were brought up in the introductions. So the big one being is probably the first one that a lot of people are interested in, which is the benchmarking of the AI tools or the AI models that Yondon put out a couple weeks ago. I'll give some people a quick update on the benchmarking. I put together a quick Python script and compiled it on Windows and Linux, Ubuntu specifically, where it just ran through all 22 benchmarks. And then I opened up a spreadsheet where people could input their data, or they could send it to me, and we can start collecting data on how these GPUs can handle these models, what kind of problems they run into. And so the first things first, we got quite a bit of data, which I'm really happy about. And actually, a lot of it is quite valuable because lots of different GPUs with a lot of different people submitting their info. I actually restricted the chart. It used to be just open that anyone could edit it, but I've now restricted it because I don't want anyone to be able to come in and just wipe the data, because it's actually quite a bit now, and it's very useful. So if you do want to update the spreadsheet, please just ask for permission. Give it to you. But some initial takeaways from it. It looks like RAM, the GPU RAM is the largest constraint by far when it comes to completing these tasks. Now, the clock speed and things like this, they do help speed up the task, but I mean, as long as your GPU can do it, we're like, for text to image, we're looking at sub 1 second across basically all GPUs, even if they're 10 series cards. Papa Bear is running the 4090, got it down to 0.1 second. So, those are pretty fast inference times. Image to image, again, we're around 1 second for inference, which again is like really impressive. It just comes down to image to video was like a real big sticking point. Basically you needed, so prior to an update, and I can't figure out where, but prior to an update, it was taking 11.9 megabytes of RAM, and I cannot figure out where or how, but all stable diffusion models just doubled their RAM overnight. So now to run image to video, you're going to need a minimum of 24.5, or it allocates 30 gigabytes. It reserves 30 gigabytes of RAM. So even the 4090 can't handle just the out-of-the-box image to video stable diffusion model as is. So that's tough, because that's the best GPU consumer grade basically on the market, and it can't do it. So just been looking into.
Is that the way the benchmark is set up that's causing that issue, or because or what, do we know what's causing that?
Well, I mean, the way these models work, like there's lots of different flags and different things you can adjust. When I say defaults, I mean the default that Yondon put in, right? So like His is like I think it's a 720p image, 720p video, and or maybe a 480p. I think it's a 480p video with 14 frames per second and 25, I guess, renditions of the model. What do they call it? Runs like this. So there's a lot of parameters to change, right? Um, and so we just went with Yonden's default, and that is what is displayed in the app that we've been using. Okay, so yeah, and so yeah, I guess my I've also been trying to figure out what we need to optimize for, um, but I'll stop right there. Actually, I want to because I'm probably rambling now. I want to stop right there. I want to get some feedback on just like first of all the benchmarking process and entering your data. Did anyone else have any? Did anyone have any problems with that, or was it pretty smooth? Like I just want some feedback on the script that I put out.
I could just add a little to our comment on that. It would be nice if there was a summary at the end that just kind of had all the info that we wanted to put in at the end, or just a CSV that uh, just had the data in it, because it's kind of a pain in the ass to go through each scroll through each one and grab the little bits of data that we want to put into the spreadsheet. But I mean, I realize it's just a once or twice kind of thing, but it could be a little smoother if it was selectively just giving the actual uh, values that we want to put into the spreadsheet. It's just my 2 cents on that.
I did add that after you
Oh,
ran yours.
maybe I missed it. Oh, I must have missed it.
Yeah, it's not very obvious. It's just at the very end it says benchmark complete, and then it just gives you a list of all your results. Very end, so you don't have
Oh,
to.
I'll have to take a look at that again, because I was like, God, I was scrolling back and I was like, it could be like almost as long to put the data in as it to run the benchmark, but not a big deal. But it was just yeah, if there was an easier way to do it, would be great.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a better way to do this. I just threw this together. But yeah, on the one point, if you download 1.4, the latest release or point 0.4, it after every one, it just like adds it to a list. So at the end, you don't have you can just scroll it right to the bottom and just copy over your results directly into the sheet without having to
Oh,
scroll up.
okay. Ah, nice. Okay, I'll have to take a relook at that.
So yeah, no, there's like there's a I mean, I should probably just output it into a CSV, and that would be the best way to do it, right?
Yeah, well, I was almost like, I can double check everything, make sure I'm putting the right one in the right place, and I don't want to put bad data into the spreadsheet. So I was like, it just took a little more time than it seemed like it should. But
I'll have it just put just
but
maybe I'll
still
just
very very nice to be able to push one button and have it all run. So that was nice too. So
well, and I'm gonna change it so that you don't have to it won't pause between each one, but I'll just add a delay between each one because I realize we're hammering this thing so hard. Maybe we should add like just like a 60-second cooldown period. Um, so rather than pressing enter, you just say, "Oh, just wait 60 seconds between each benchmark," so that your GPU can kind of just stay cool. Um,
well, I mean, I mean that's your decision, but I think that you know I would expect the GPUs to be getting hit, you know, uh, continually in production. So um, I don't know if you want to set a parameter for that, or it's nice to know what they can do just running full out.
oh, good point. Yeah. Well, you just set your delay between inference jobs to 0, I guess. You'd just
Right.
be like a thing you can input. Like instead of do you want to pause, it'll just be like what's your delay. Anyway, these are just small
Yeah, yeah.
small
This
things.
is, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Get into the weeds here.
yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I'm not sure what happened, but all stable diffusions doubled in RAM. Um, So then I started testing out some other things. Actually, I'll bring up the forum post so I can read what I working on. So okay, so the first thing I tried to do was I tried to see what factors affected the RAM by default. So I tried different prompts, so different image sizes, image complexities as an input, and I also tried different length of prompts and the amount of weights in a prompt. And I got very confused because the day that I tried the different weights on the images and the prompts was the day that the Stable Diffusion model changed. So I literally put a post being like, hey, like everything doubled based on the prompt. But then when I like went back, like everything just stayed the same. And so I got really confused. Turns out the prompts, the input does not change the RAM or the demand on the GPU. So this is really good because we can now, like, whatever a user throws at us, the end user, it's not going to change what we can assume for usage on our end, which is right. That's a good thing, right? Before the image gets processed into the video, it resizes and smooths out the image. So it doesn't matter if you send a 100 megabyte file, it'll just resize it, and then inference it from there. And then the prompt, it just assumes that, you know, it's only going to do so many runs. So the more specific you are, maybe the better result, the more specific the result. But it still uses the exact same amount of RAM to do an inference where you literally put in one word, cat, and then you put in like 100 words explaining the situation. They all use the same amount of RAM. So yeah, that was interesting. That's good. So now I'm just working on trying to fit these models into GPUs with less RAM. So there's like three different ways to do this. There's called, you can reduce the chunk size, you can offload to the CPU, and you can also do what's called, where is it? Chunk forwarding. That's what it's called. So these are three things that you can do to optimize RAM, where you basically don't get, you don't affect quality, but you just affect time. So I'm working on those, but with no luck. The CPU offloading doesn't seem to work, or I haven't spent enough time on it. The chunking might work. I don't know. I really just need to spend time. Luckily, Paperspace, they gave me $150 worth of credits to use their H100. So that'll just make a really fast way to just to iterate through all this stuff. So I'm probably just gonna, like, later this week rent the H100 and start iterating through like tons of different ways of reducing RAM. So hopefully we can fit. Apparently you can fit, using the CPU offloading. Apparently you can fit the image to video onto an 8 gigabyte card. So that's promising. That's really good. Another takeaway was the Windows users. They have the ability to use shared RAM. So I guess in the BIOS and the way Windows works, if your GPU runs out of RAM, it will then use the system RAM as like it'll move over to the system RAM and try to continue the process, whereas I believe Linux doesn't do this. And in doing so, what happened was there was a bunch of GPUs that it would just run out of memory on Linux completely. You just get the memory error. But on Windows, it would do the task, but it would be about 100 times longer. So if you're using system RAM to spill over from your GPU, then you're looking at about 100 times longer inference, but it will maybe eventually do the task. And so the question just becomes like, is this something we want, or is that a bad thing? So
There's a Windows binary that you can run. I thought it was they're not, or how are you running it in Windows?
yeah, you could run this on Windows. I got a Windows compiled version. You just need Docker.
Not, oh, you're running it in Docker, using Docker on Windows, you're
Yes.
saying? Oh, okay.
And
I haven't tried that.
the way Windows partitions, like, yeah, it has this thing called shared RAM, which like Linux doesn't have. And apparently, depending on your BIOS, you can increase the amount of RAM that your system is willing to give to your GPU spillover.
Yeah, it sounds like if it's 100x the speed decrease, that's probably not realistic to use, but sure.
Well,
Someone
my
wants to bench it and see how it goes. Great.
my question was, okay, so the H100 has 280 gigs of RAM, and I thought, if you want, so the Sora example that you can, for those that haven't seen it, but Sora has come out and they have an amazing example of the text to video. That I think you just straight up need like hundreds of gigs of GPU RAM to render that. And so, I had this thought process of like, okay, you can't render it in 1 minute, but like, what if you could associate 128 gigs of system memory to just like a crappy 8 gig card? And yeah, it might take a couple weeks to render the video, but hey, it could render the video and you would get, you know, AWS or Microsoft level, an H100 level quality without the H100 costs. Because yeah, H100s are starting at 30,000. You need the rest of the systems.
Yeah, I don't think I was waiting a week. Gonna wait a week, but that's just that's my 2 cents on that one.
Well, but that's the trade off, right? Can you buy it? Are you willing to wait a week if you only have to buy a $400 GPU, or you're willing to offer it for such a low price? So I put out this post on Twitter, asking about people's preferences on speed versus quality versus cost, and basically across the board, people were always willing to sacrifice speed for quality, to a very large degree. Like, nobody valued speed when it came to rendering. Um, they only valued quality and cost. So, and which is not what the Livepeer network is default to do. Livepeer is default to do it fast and cheap, right? Because we have a lot of consumer grade cards. We could do it really quick, right? But quality is what takes up all this RAM. We don't have the abundant amount of RAM like the H100. So the question just becomes like, can we fit, a really large model onto a really small card by kind of jimmy rigging it with shared system RAM on Windows? I don't know. This is just one of my thought processes. It probably won't work, but just exploring different like avenues of like what we want to offer as a network.
Can I ask a question, Titan? Hi,
Yeah, go ahead.
this is Osman. So in the beginning, you said that stable video diffusions, text to image, image to image, they all work they all give a reply, an answer within a reasonable time period. But image to video doesn't work at all, you said, with the consumer grade cards, right? Because of the RAM constraint.
That's right.
You said image to video with even the best performant card didn't work, you said, right?
With the default settings, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay. So and then and now at the end of the speed, you said there's this H100 cards that are like $40,000, which is obviously expensive, but they would work.
Oh yes.
They would be able to execute that, right? Image to video,
Oh, very
just
well.
one card.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if consumer grade cards could be parallelized, if I'm using the correct word,
Oh,
could work in parallel,
yeah.
like uh, maybe all the nodes come together like Voltron and do the job. Is it possible with consumer grade cards
Yeah.
working in parallel?
That's a good question. So those are the two. That was the second thing I was exploring. So the first one was, can Windows use the shared RAM? Does it even make sense? The second is, can we combine GPUs parallelly? I don't even know if that's a word. You can parallelize the task. And the answer is I don't know. The H100 provider I talked to about parallelizing across GPUs, they just said he can't. So I don't know. Obviously, they're selling the H100s, so they just are going to have one opinion. I don't. The problem is you could, by handing out smaller chunks, like how would you parallelize it? That's the problem. Would you do it frame by
Yeah.
frame? Well, then all your frames are going to be different unless they're not. Like I'm curious as to, are the outputs the same on all cards? If they are, then you could say, well, Papa Bear does one frame, I do another, Osmond does another. You put the 3 frames together, and it makes sense. But from my understanding, like, that will create 3 different images that aren't quite lined up, and so then you're gonna have like all this fragmented video. So I don't know if that would work. And then the other way is to, like, okay, you get the top left corner, I get the top right corner, Papa Bear gets the bottom left. Okay, so then we take 4 and stitch them together. Again, I don't know how well that's gonna work. And then the last is like, no, you just distribute the entire job as 2 different GPUs, and you try and make the GPUs assume that it's one GPU. And I
Yeah.
don't believe there's any packages or ways to do that without hiring some engineer to come in and do something proprietary. I don't think
until now.
Yeah, until now, until if we got a GPU like architect in here, please speak up. I would love to know.
That's where I believe it's a good segue to the project that me and my team are working on for the Innovators DAO, because it is a solution to solve that problem amongst other issues. Another one being lack of a algorithm, so to speak, and security. And our idea and concept is to really create a blanket or interface over top of the Livepeer system and Livepeer studio system that is, for lack of better words, pretty and has a fluid interface that is inviting. And the mindset is to, bring obvious awareness to the brands, but to generate more content so that you guys have to transcode, to do it in a way that is systematic, safe, and more importantly, transparent in regards to the monetary gains for all the parties involved. Because right now, what is happening is, just from my perspective, I was a former cryptographic network engineer, and now I have a bachelor's in fine art, film. and
So
just where I'm in the multimedia. When it comes, excuse me, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Just to clarify, are you saying you have a way that you could parallelize these GPUs and share the RAM as one unit, or
in theory, yes, yes, that's what the app would function as, amongst other things.
Do you have an engineer that would know how to do this?
Well, I'm a former network engineer, and all my team members are network engineers. So the app that we're putting together now, like we're building out an MVP so that we could. Hold on. Sorry, it's my second. We're building out an MVP now so that we can, have a space to test all these things out. And this is where last week I was asking, I'm definitely going to need help from this community to figure out how to layer it on top of your guys' network, because it's absolutely built for integration with what you guys have going on. But yeah, it definitely satisfies the processing shared load issues, and in conjunction, the security issues as well.
I like it. What we'll have to do is maybe meet up and see if we can figure out how we could do this. Because it's beyond me. I don't know how to parallelize GPUs. This is like a deep layer. Like, you got to be dealing with the BIOS and system.
Mm-hmm.
It's too deep for me. I can barely run the pre-made packages that they tell me how to reduce RAM in the first place. I can't even get those to work. So,
Well, and that's where, this is, just my modest opinion. We've gotten to a place where in technology, individuals can do a lot of things, but there are limitations when we're talking about enterprise level heavy lifting. And, unless you have server farms that are connected, that's really what you're competing up with and against. And I know Livepeer, has that, but it's really about having an intermediary that functions and that can handle the load for that processing power and security as well.
Right. Well, there you go. Osman says, my next question, Titan. Do you know how OpenAI or other apps do it? OpenAI's video by Sora certainly can't be doing it with a single GPU, even the H100, right? They somehow must be with them parallelly. No, they're just using one H100. One H100 will be able to do the video, like, no problem. So, yeah, the only thing they're doing parallelly is just they have so much demand that they just are buying many boxes of of H100s and just having them run like Paperspace. You can use their H100s in as a single H100, or the only next item up is to buy a box of 8 of them. In which case, then you could run 8 times the amount of inference jobs, but each inference job is just going to be handled on the one H100. So, no, an H100 is plenty to do. So the question just becomes if Livepeer doesn't have H100 or A100, right? We have consumer grade stuff. What are we prioritizing? Are we okay with handing out, low quality, quick and cheap, or are we going to prioritize for quality, in which case we need to either reorganize our cheap GPUs to be able to do that, or Livepeer just needs to upgrade and we need to spend treasury money to buy some H100s? Like, how do we want to position ourselves at work?
That is the question that I've been asking myself, as the new guy, and figuring out, what you guys are offering and where you're trying to collectively go. And this is where this app is a solution for that as well. because that's one thing my team and I have discussed is the priority of how things are transcoded. And within this app will be a valuation system that will enable orchestrators to choose what data they want to transcode based on a value that's already been assessed. So it's not like a shot in the dark. You know, you have more of a chance to, you know, quote unquote, get your money's worth.
Yeah. Well, this might be a good segue actually into also the app that was built by the SPE. So the people that beta tested it, you can actually see the results in the showcase tab. I see Papa Bear put another one, Smash, and not much Smash is a way to increase input coherence. For the people that tried out the app in beta testing, you want to give your feedback on it? Papa Bear?
Sorry, I was trying to get back into the chat. Yeah, it's not really compelling at right now in the state it's in to me. Doesn't seem like the video really sticks to the prompt very well, and but I had a hard time, creating any kind of. I mean, I wasn't even getting close to the video output that I would hope to be getting from the prompts I was giving it. And I don't know that it really is. I just don't know how compelling it would be for a consumer to actually use this over just even just using a video that you can find and put some text over it, or just even a still image. I don't see that. Doesn't seem to. I mean, I feel like I can make a better meme right now just using a still image or an existing video. So unless there's a way that we can actually get the prompt to come out closer to, you know, the prompts that we're giving it. I haven't seen anything that's been like, oh wow, that's really looks good. I mean, any of the examples that have been given in my experience in using it.
I will say
Have you
though,
found?
that the video, the image to video portion of it doesn't take into account a text prompt. So
Right, so you have to use a completely different prompt than you have to kind of like think ahead about that when you're prompting for the image. But then then there's just no way. It doesn't seem like seems like there needs to almost be a middle step in there somewhere that gives it some direction from the image to text.
yeah, it's
To
missing that piece for sure. Like it's
Transition.
all it's doing is taking the image and like making it live, but it's not. It's
Yeah,
not.
like I mean, like the one where I put the bear up. That was like I had prompted that. I don't remember the exact prompt I used, but something like like bear smashing uh, dishes in a shop. And it was like the bear was just
Shuffling
standing in
his
a
feet.
room. Well, the first one, it was something, the bear was just standing in it. That was supposed to be a bear standing in a shop with broken dishes. I could not get broken dishes to show up no matter what. And then, yeah, I couldn't get anything to, I just couldn't get it to come even close to what I was trying to get it to do. I don't know if that's an issue with the model or, yeah,
Um,
yeah, cool.
What, you know, a couple of weeks ago when you guys told me you were looking for video developers, to me what you're describing is what I was alluding to, and that is, in order to create a great video, no matter what the medium is, you have to be descriptive in your text and know how to describe a screen, a scene, or write a script. So the prompt is going to be limited to your description. And the more descriptive words that you can use that are more cinematic in nature, the more, movie-like your video is going to be and closer to what you envision.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
this is
if I try to do this stuff at Comfy, I can get much closer to the image that I'm trying to get, or the video that I'm trying to get than I can using like the whatever workflow that is happening behind the scenes with Livepeer's current implementation of it. So I mean, it's not easy to do in Comfy, but I mean, there's just a lot more flexibility, but it's a lot more complicated to do. So there needs to be some work done on just making it easier for just a regular person to come in and use this, in my opinion.
I mean, it's still in like their beta, right? I'm sure they haven't
Yeah.
implemented the whole workflow to actually have the prompt like in the benchmarking script, like the prompt doesn't. There's like a text prompt and an image prompt, and for the video creation part, it just totally ignores the text prompt. Like it doesn't.
Right. No,
it
clearly
doesn't take that into. But when you go image to image, it takes in both because you have to tell. It has to take in the image, and then you have to tell it what you want it to do with the image, which is what you would expect it to also do with the video. But it just like it's completely left out of that image to video part. So
right. So you're stuck trying to prompt the image to look at least something what you'd want the video to be, and even that in itself doesn't come out. Like I still couldn't get like even a broken dish to show up, no matter how I prompted it. And I have no problem doing that, prompting in, again, using just stable diffusion, by itself, or, Mid-Journey or something like that. I can get broken dishes to show up. But I could not get that to, no matter how I prompted it, through the current implementation. And then, like you said, and then that it doesn't take into consideration what your actual, text is that you're putting into the meme. That's so you have to really kind of do it all in the first step, which is also limiting. So
yeah,
like I
hopefully,
said, right now it's just movement. It's like whatever your image is, it's kind of just like a camera panning around on there, and so you have to try and, like I said, get it all into that first prompt, and doesn't seem to really carry over very well from what I'm able to get out of it, the examples I've seen.
yeah. I wish. I hope Tim shows up because I did. He has a project. He got he placed in the hackathon projects where he had a text to video, so there was no intermediary of image. It was just straight text to video in his project, and it worked immediately. It was quite, and he was using an H100 to do it. And so he was coming on because what they do is they do the training of the model, and they also have a workflow for how to handle the text to video. And so, since they do training, what would be nice is if Livepeer could host their model and their pipeline of how to go from text to video, and then it's kind of like this really fine-tuned text to video thing where right now we're just using the open source stable diffusion, and we're just saying, oh, let's go from text to image to video, and we're not even like handling the prompts in a very direct way. So
Yeah, I think the workflow needs some work.
I mean, it is like in beta, like or like in alpha, right? So they got a long way to go, but yeah, it's interesting.
And again, with a more complex workflow, it takes longer to get to, which at least your poll shows that people don't seem to mind to wait to get better quality, but it's something else to consider that more complicated workflows definitely take longer to process.
There we go. Hey, Tim. Tim is with us. Hello, Tim. How are you doing, sir? Hello. Okay, cool. Are you free to do some Q&A session about Flock and what it does?
Sorry, man. Hello, Titan. Great to be here. I'm just trying to get out from the venue. I was just stuck in a previous event.
No worries. Why don't you? We'll give you a few minutes, or at least like how long do you need to go find a quiet space?
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out in the quiet space now.
Okay. Cool. Well, let's go ahead and get started then, if that works for you.
Yeah, 100%. Let's go.
Okay. So
Glad to be here.
Yeah, Tim, tell us a little bit about so Tim, I met you at the ETH Denver hackathon about a week ago, and you presented in the hackathon, and I was really impressed with what you had built. Can you tell us a little bit about what Flock does, and kind of what your role is with the project?
Of course, man. Of course, it was definitely was a pleasure to meet the Livepeer team at East Denver Hackathon, and also our pleasure to display and showcase our project during the East Denver. So just a bit introduction of myself. My name is Tim. So I'm currently the dev rel for Flock.io. So what Flock does is that we are a um, AI with Web3 company that building traditional distributed machine learning with blockchain as an incentive layer. So currently we are working on a AI co-creation platform that allows user to contribute their data to our models and then gain incentive out of that. And then slowly we'll be moving towards a concept called collaborative economy and this decentralized hosting. I hope that's quite a short and straightforward introduction to me myself and what we are doing at Flock.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. So just to clarify, Flock is looking to do the AI training side of things, but not necessarily the inference. Is that correct?
Yeah, we are more focusing on the fine tuning, to be honest. So where we allow different clients to fine tune a model together because we see that training may not be that necessary because you always have those open source model, but go beyond open source model, we need fine tuning. So that's where we see the pinpoint of traditional centralized environment where you might not be able to have the data and computation power to fine tune the model by yourself.
Right. So, do you have an example of like what a like when you say fine tuning? Do you mean like we had an example just before you came of Papa Bear trying to use stable diffusion to make broken dishes, and no matter what he did with the prompt, he could never really get it to create broken dishes. They were always kind of like dishes that were totally fine. Let's say you were fine tuning this model, and it was all about maybe restaurants or kitchens. Is that kind of how you would do it? You would feed it a bunch of data around what a broken dish would look like, and then maybe the model would be able to recognize it and build it faster. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think I can give you example like this. So like a traditional 7 billion token model may be a very generic model that can answer a lot of questions you want, right? But if you want it to be a deeper at a specific direction, for example, just an example of smart contract auditing, they might not be able to complete a very perfect job because they have all the noises from different other information. Right. So where fine tuning come into place is that we can feed in more data or information related to smart contracts auditing, and then by training the model on top of those data, that model will be more professional in that specific direction. So similarly, if you trying to train the stable diffusion model with more broken dishes, then obviously the image for if you prompt in to create broken dishes image will be better.
Very interesting. And so, is Flock? Is this like how do you incentivize people to put in this data, and how do you make sure that it's like people aren't poisoning the data per se? Like that we want a broken dish, but instead someone sent a banana, and so now you have all these broken bananas, and it's not quite correct. How do you handle that?
Of course, I think it's a great questions, right? So we took the reference of like a proof of stake mechanism from the blockchain, where in order to participate in the fine tuning tasks, participants first need to stake certain amount of token that is settled by the task releaser or task issuer. And then each round, when we do the fine tuning, we actually do a peer-to-peer comparison. So by all means, we do a vote on the results or on the training result. So if the training result is far off from the global medium result, we can identify it as like a model poisoning or wrong data or like a error data.
Right. And so the idea behind this is that you get more specific training towards like an app that you want to build to use, or is this like just trying to refine the whole model to be more specific? Like what is kind of the end case for this for Flock's users?
I think this is a small part that builds into our future vision where we want to become the Web3 Hugging Face. So fine tuning decentralizedly is part of it, and then the AI co-creation platform I mentioned earlier is another part of it. So togetherly, those two can form into a whole AI ecosystem with incentive layer on chain to finally become the vision we want. So I think it's just we see it as a tool that helping us to achieve this.
Very cool. Yeah, and so you said you want to be like the Web3 Hugging Face. So are you guys specifically just doing the models, or are you guys like in your hackathon you went straight from text to video? Is that, are you guys going from text to image, image to video, or how are you getting from text to video? What does that pipeline look like?
So after the investigation, like talks through with our internal engineers, we actually discover works through several different open source models that allows you to do text to video. So I think it's directly from text to video instead of text to image and then to video. But what we found out is I think currently we are seeing really lack of a good open source model that allows you to do text to video at the moment.
Very interesting. So if Livepeer wanted to run this model as an available inference job on our network, how would that look?
I think it will be a more like a subnet kind of a relationship, where the sorry, I need to wrap around a bit because it's the decentralized hosting part is very new. It's recently been finalized. So do you mind giving me 1 minute just to wrap my mind around
Sure. Yeah. Of
Titan?
course. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm just peppering
yeah.
you with questions. You just came in
No
from out of
worries.
nowhere, and yeah, right into it.
Yeah. So from us, we are moving towards decentralized hosting. So why decentralized hosting? I want to talk the backstory between decentralized hosting and computation
Yeah. Go
first
ahead.
to make everyone clear why we are looking into the hosting part, not the computation part. Because so my background is actually computation. I think my boss' background is AI. So we both know that decentralized computation doesn't seem to be a final solution into this whole concept because you're gonna have a lot of troublesome issues around making computation decentralized. For example, the network overhead or the communication cost and other costs like bandwidth. So those costs will be exponentially growing into your whole pipeline instead of like traditionally linear difficulties. So that's why we are looking. We don't want to touch any computation. We just want to make sure that our model is openly accessible and hosted on our partners like nodes, so that people can easily access into the model. So that's the reason why we are looking into decentralized hosting. So rolling back to the question, Titan, you just asked, how um, Livepeer can be part, how Livepeer join in part, and then how the image look like. So this model will run on top of your network, and then so basically all your node operator can run a model, and then what happened is we can actually validate the data being fine-tuned into this model as a validator, right? Because you all run the model, and then you can also send in data by yourself, and then we aggregate all the data in the end to form an ultimate fine-tuned model on specific like text to video ultimate model. Hope that makes certain sense.
Yeah, it's so new for us that we're trying to wrap our heads around kind of how
Yeah,
this all integrates,
I'm
right?
Yeah, I'm also trying to wrap my head around with the integration. I think the whole concept is really new, and then we are. I'm also yet to see the whole flow diagram of how exactly it should look like. I have the general idea of yes, so this we're gonna have subnet, and then Livepeer can be part of the subnet, and then we can host the model directly on Livepeer, and then so this model will be more accessible, and then also using the power provided from you guys to drive the model.
If I could, this is a discussion my team and I had a couple days ago, talking about exactly what you guys are talking about, and this is where we're proposing a solution to be an interface, and that solution is really based on math, and there has to be an understanding that when it comes to Web3 solutions and the way that they function, there's just certain limitations that are in place when we're comparing them to how other websites function on regular internet, like page refreshing and everything, because there's costs and fees associated with it, right? So, to me, this is where we have to understand in the Web3 community the importance of analytics. And Tim is saying like they're staying away from the computation aspect of it for a reason, right? Because it complicates things. But it only complicates things if you're trying to make sense of them, like, or capitalize on them in the moment in real time. Like, that's when things get icky. But if you project and can predict, or you can quantify the data at a future date, and then use it to apply like a scoring system, or I guess the best analogy would be like if I had a website in the regular world, right? And for 6 months, my blog generated 1,000 views a day. I can put that on a spreadsheet and then take it to a sponsor and say, okay, hey, I want to sell you this data. This is the same thing. It's just that we have to accept that whatever is put into the machine is going to be seen in the future.
I'm just gonna cut you off there, Rumbling Thunder, because I to be honest, I'm having a hard time following exactly what you're saying, because it's pretty profound, right? So, but yeah, it is it's interesting to see the difference between compute and training, kind of like you said. Tim, what are the next steps for Flock? For you guys moving forward? What are the next steps that you see for the development of Flock and getting these models live for use on our network?
I think the next step obviously is so currently we have the co-creation platform. It's off chain. So very obvious. One of the future roadmap will be how we can combine on-chain incentive layer on top of that to make it and through that we want to investigate how we can make the whole thing decentralized, right? Because we are here in this Web3 space, we talk about decentralization, and then in a very obvious manner that having something that's on centralized doesn't seem to be fitting into the whole atmosphere and whole vibe. So we are investigating more on the decentralization part of our system right now. We are just finalizing, as I said, we just finalized all the design of our tokenomics, the design of our decentralized hosting structure, and for the next 2 months, we will be head down, and then just fully focus on delivering the whole structure.
Interesting. Yeah, I just went onto the website and I clicked on co-creation. Is this what is co-creation?
Yeah. So let me explain explain it to all the audience. So currently we allow co-creation into RAG bot. So just an explanation on RAG. So it's called retrieval argument generation, where you link a base model, for example, 7 billion or 13 billion model, to a knowledge base. So what happened is that when you trying to ask question to the bot will first go through their knowledge base, and then with the knowledge base information, they can structure a intuitive answer to you. So in that sense, we can actually have a up-to-date bot for certain direction. Just giving an example from our website, we collaborated with Scroll ecosystem. So we built an RAG bot for the whole Scroll ecosystem to play around. And then during the time, so where we allow community to contribute data into this RG bot, where it's more like a community driven activity. That's how we see it.
I see a new button that says create new model. So could I create a Livepeer model? So specific model
Yes.
for us
Yeah.
as a community to input Livepeer, facts, how the system works, what to expect, and then this, I guess this is a GPT model, so it's text. It would be able
Yeah.
to answer the GBT queries more correctly. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah, that's why we built this RAG for the ecosystem, because we think currently with all the open source no all the large language model out in the market, they can't catch up with our industry. As everyone are familiar with, that our industry just evolve every day. If you don't look into Twitter, or you don't look into your Discord or Telegram, you probably lost track after 2 days. So with such a fast-paced growing industry, we need to use technology like RAG bot to help us keep on track with everything. But is like people will not spend their whole time trying to go through all the information. So that's the initial idea came from. But also back to your question regarding Livepeer. Yeah, 100%. You can create a Livepeer bot and then allowing the whole community to contribute into that. So and then we also will open up the community validation for the data source as well. So the data, so whether people are submitting, for example, data to poison the model, to poison the answer, we can always validate by community themselves as well.
Okay, so I'm just creating one right now. I'm just defining the model. So obviously I'm uploading, what the Livepeer project is and some data required. Once I make this live, then other people could submit their data about Livepeer to this model. Is that correct?
Yes, you will need 3 pieces of data that is about Livepeer just to start off with.
Cool. Okay.
So just explain a bit more with your data. You can submit a PDF, or you can submit a link or Gitbook link, or whatever link it is, and also you can submit plain text to the model.
Cool. So if I just go to can I just give it something simple like livepeer.org and it would just like scrape the website or is it
It's only going to scrape the page. It's not going to scrape the whole website.
okay, so
Unfortunately, we are yet onto the point where we are able to scrape the whole CDN.
right. But even the homepage, it's it's informative. So I could submit that, and that's not going to be like a weird thing to
Yes.
submit, right?
Yeah. You can submit that.
Okay, let's do it. So I create it. Please fill in the things required. Require a description. I did project in the AI blockchain space. See, create. At least 3 examples are required. 3 examples. 3 example knowledge. Oh, I see. So 3 like website links or something. Orchestrators and delegators each get a link. Delegators. Boom. Create.
I want to say I hope this work because it's a new function just launched to be honest, mainly for the hackathon these 2 weeks. So I haven't really I know people use it by the API keys. So I can't promise you on the on the existence of how it showed up in the on the website. I probably need to double check on that, but the create model function is definitely working, and then you should be able to contribute data to that. I just don't know whether it will show up on the main page or not.
Yeah, well, it says your model has passed the verification. You will receive 100 points. Ooh, points. This process will take 10 minutes to an hour. And then once that happens, it'll be live on your website. Okay? Well,
It should.
it should. Okay, I won't hold you to it, though, because, it's still in beta, it seems. So, but that's really interesting. So, the way I can see this collaborating is, let's say someone wants to build an application and they love cats. All the image generation and all the video generation is going to be based on cats. Because this is a cat app. It's called mycatapp.app. Okay? And Livepeer powers this app for all the compute inference tasks, right? There's a 10,000 daily active users to come generate cats on this website. And Livepeer is able to power that. But luckily, people really like using this app because it generates such quality cats. Like the detail and the specificness of the cat is so perfect. And that's because we utilize Flock's superset of data about cats. So Flock has 1,000 people submitting data about cats, showing pictures of cats, images of cats, text articles about cats, all these things that define cats that is so much more granular and specific. And so because of that, the end user has such a better experience because the data set about cats is so much more robust and less generic. Is that kind of how it works?
It sounds very interesting, to be honest. This one, I yeah. Because I sort of like a multi-agent kind of how they should the future of like multiple those RAG bot can work together. But I never expect like we can actually work in such way because just leverage on the idea you just mentioned. So I think our bot can literally plug into the app that you generate the cat image, right? It can also be part of the function where you can contribute the data, and then our RAG bot will learn it and then help you to generate the cat image can just happening at one place because we do have all the API ready for you for people to implement. So you don't even need to come to our platform and create a model. It can directly happening on your platform.
Right. So right. We could have some sort of API integration where we're choosing the model based on Flock's superset of different models based on anyway. This gets more complicated, but the idea is by us utilizing Flock, we can provide a better product to the end user. Is that
Yes.
the goal?
Yeah. I think the goal is as I said is to help. It can be like leverage on top of traditional models and then make it more specific into one direction because depending on the knowledge base. Like if the knowledge base is focused on just single direction of or single object and then it's very dedicated to that object, then yes, we can see this feature. And then it sounds very fascinating to be honest.
So I have a question. Uh, let's say Flock is starting to generate some models based on some specific data. How does it look to compete against something like Facebook or Twitter, where they just have this giant set of proprietary data that they essentially own on their platform, and it's robust. I mean, they've got 10 years of data to mine to get better results. How does Flock look at competing against that level of centralization and organization?
Yeah, that's another great question. I can give you three reasons. So one reason with large corporations, they always have this opportunity cost. It's I think the whole decision making is heavily depending on whether this product will make profit, right? So in that sense, they do have a longer decision making period where if they can't make money, you probably cut off the whole project team. That's we see a lot in the large corporation like Google, Alphabet, and then Facebook, Meta, right? So secondly is we as a Flock we believe the future is not about large language model like 1.76 trillion. It will be the world of small models like 7 billion or 13 billion where everyone can host them and fine tune them in the future where those models will be the model that help you in your daily job. It's not the ones that are gonna be 1.76 trillion because 1.76 trillion token will have too many noise in your answer. If you use open like ChatGPT models right now, you need to prompt in and then go forth and back for several times for you to get the right answer. So lastly is that we as a AI company, but not to forget, we also work on blockchain incentive layer. So with the help of blockchain incentive layer, we can see a breakthrough point into this market.
So what you're saying is, here we go. There's a interesting. You're the modular, you're the modular models for AI inference rather than the monolithic approach. Just to
Yes.
just to harp on the whole Ethereum Solana debate right now. So that's always
Yeah.
funny. But what you're saying is, if I just want if I'm focused on cats, like why am I loading up a trillion data points about things that are not cats? Why do I need to know really specific things about this space shuttle if all I want to deal with is cats? So why don't I just load up this very small independent model that focuses on what I want most? It reduces all the noise of all the other data input, and you get multiple benefits. One is you get a very specific amount of data, so it's much smaller, it's more compressed, and you probably get a much cleaner result because of that. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes. I think with the answer, 7 billion model or 13 billion model is good enough to give you a structured, intuitive answer. But if we increase the token size to like existing large language model growing larger, I don't think that they will give you specific answer because they have so many different other they are too general. You want something is specific just onto your case of cat. You probably want a 13 billion or 7 billion model as your base model and then but that is fully fine-tuned on cat information to help you generate the best prompt to generate cat images.
There you go. I like it. On that note, I did submit the Livepeer model to Flock, but it looks like the verification status is failure. So I'm sure.
Oh, okay. I'll report it in a bit. But thanks for trying.
I don't expect it to be flawless. I just mess around. During Q&A sessions, I like to mess around with the product that people are talking about. So
I love that. I love that. It's always helping us, right? If we get more users break our system, we know what's going on.
big shout out though. I got 30 points. So for just connecting my wallet. So awesome. But yeah, no, I can see how this is very interesting. How you can generate a new subset, of data, a new model. You can start, everyone can start contributing to the specific data about this model, and then you can create a. I mean, if for a GBT model like you're advertising already, we could have a Livepeer GPT model where people can ask it questions about Livepeer, and they'll actually get really responsive answers rather than just generic things found in ChatGPT from OpenAI, because it hasn't really studied Livepeer all that thoroughly, right?
Yeah.
And there's lots of
Also, just to add on, I just want to add on as well. So me myself is a good OpenAI user, and then we also know that OpenAI has a GPT store. But what limited in GPT store is that when user create a GPT, you are the only one that is allowed to contribute data into that GPT. But however, I believe one man's power is limited, so you can't be perfect on collecting all your data, right? So that's why a project like Livepeer may requires the whole community, no matter whether it's project themselves or the community members within this whole vibe, to togetherly contribute into the model, so that can make this model perfect.
very good. As soon as we have the ability to create some more models, I want to create a bear model, and we're gonna all contribute to bears, specifically bears with glasses like Papa Bear. And as soon as we get a really nice superset of data, we're gonna create an app that just is all about bears, and we're gonna have
Oh, I love it.
a bear time, and we can elect Papa Bear as our head bear, and yeah, it's gonna be great. We're gonna have some great, good quality looking bears.
I'm 100. I love this. I love this vibe. I never, to be honest, before talking to you, before coming into this huddle, I never thought that, oh, we can actually do something like that. But yeah, thanks for letting me in to share what we did. But also thanks for sparking me on the inspiration.
Yeah, it's interesting. Does anyone else from the community have any questions they want to ask Tim while he's here with us? Cool. Yeah, no, Tim, I'm like really excited to see what you guys are doing. I think what you guys are is very interesting. I'll just look in the chat here real quick. Rick says, how does this compare with ChatGPT's fine tuning? He says, I think you already answered that one. Yeah, I think all in all, there was a lot of information to digest. We're still very new. The Livepeer community, we're very new into the Livepeer, inference compute tasks. This is something that we have just a beta app out that we're testing, and making sure that our models can handle inference jobs. One last question for you, Tim, before you go. Are these models that you're producing, are they taking up the same amount of resources for inference? Do you expect, because of their modular approach, do you think they will be lighter to run, or are they going to be heavier to run? And how does it look, your guesstimation on the compute side?
I can give answers for RAG, because knowledge base is different. Knowledge base is separate, is isolated out from the model. So basically, you're only going to run the model on the machine, but you kind of having the middleware computation, complexity of computation to process the query from the knowledge base. So I think the cost will still remain the same if you run a 7 billion model locally or elsewhere, because the knowledge base is actually isolated out.
Right. Okay. So you're still running the same model. It's the same weight, like the same 7 billion, but you just have this extra amount of data to pull from, and that really probably isn't going to add much to the usage of the compute.
Yes.
But you'll probably get much more fine-tuned results, which is exactly what we want to go
Yes.
for.
Yes.
Very cool. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Yeah, like I said, we're new. Our community is new to this. This is a new initiative coming into Livepeer, and we want to partner with guys like you that can help build a better end user experience. Right, that's kind of the goal, is to have a good end user experience at a low cost that is decentralized. So yeah, we're rooting for you. If there, what can we do to assist you or help you in Flock's development and what you're working on?
I think once we go on, we fully open the beta, I will invite everyone in. Please welcome and try it and break our system.
I like it. I like it a lot. Cool, man. Well, thanks, Tim. I do appreciate your time. Hey, there we go. Papa Bear just posted in the chat. He found a way to make bear breaking dishes. I'm gonna guess that is Mid-Journey you're prompting, because you get the 4.
Yeah, I just threw it in there to see what would come up, and yeah, did considerably better.
Yeah, of course. Cool. Well, Tim, thank you so much for joining us. We'll let you get back to what you were doing. We do appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you around Discord and developments. So as Flock continues on or needs some beta testers, please reach out to the community. We'd be happy to help.
100%. No, actually, thanks a lot for bringing me onto the stage and discussing with you guys. And then there's a lot of sparks coming out. I'm so hyped. I will just go back and then start working on, analyzing what we've been talking about today.
Very cool. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you very much. Bye, guys. Have a good day. Or GM or GN to everyone.
Yeah, you feel free to stick around, but I know you're literally at a venue, so do what you got to do. We're just going to continue on with some more banter about Livepeer stuff. So, but yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
your time.
cool. I'll pop off. And then have a good time, guys. Bye.
Cheers.
Thanks, Tim.
All right. Oh wow, look at this bear. Oh, those are some broken dishes, man. Rick's got an angry bear. Dally. Oh, there you go. Yeah, see, these images are good quality too. Happy bear breaking
those are good.
dishes. Cool. So, what everyone think of Tim's Q&A session? It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I missed the beginning, but yeah, I like the decentralized training part and fine tuning.
Yeah, it's they've got a long way to go. I mean, they're just launching and they're competing against big boys who have so much data to fine tune against. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how well they can rally around an open source kind of open environment for getting this type of data. But it's in line with what we could do with them too, right? We could vertically integrate with them, just like we can support the models and fine tuning that they have done, and offer that as a compute job on our network. Which reminds me of how Mike was talking about how us having a nice, a clean pipeline for handling different models on our network is going to be pretty critical to scaling out solution.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they hit a really critical point, I think. If we want to decentralize compute power and they want to decentralize the aggregation of data, I think that's another point that is really missing in the blockchain space. Otherwise, you have like this monopolies as well that you state, for example, with Facebook, that other startups cannot compete against. So if they can succeed, that will be amazing.
Cool. We're an hour 40 minutes into this, so it's been a while. Yeah, I have questions around like WebRTC, but Marco's not here and probably knows. Probably skip on that. Do we have any last comments or questions around, benchmarking, direction of Livepeer and AI? Does anyone else want to bring in any comments or questions they'd like to bring up before we start shutting her down?
Yeah, man. What are we gonna do about text to video and image to video? It's like a dilemma. I feel like I'm stuck in a corner. Like there is no. Is there a solution to that? Like, um, I already messaged Doug about this, and my suggestion would be to start with 2 GPUs and put them in custody of Ink, and they start operating and accepting jobs with those 2, maybe, or 3, I don't know. And it will be like a kickstart to this whole thing, because I don't think any nodes would like to buy a $40K hardware, right? As you said, it's the niche market for Livepeer is cheap and fast, and now we are going into a different kind of market, and the network doesn't have the hardware, right? So I, I I told Doug that I'm kind of concerned that maybe text to video and image to video are like the core points of all this, right? This whole buzz for the last 4 months was about text to video. Yeah,
I mean,
I don't
I
know.
haven't. I will say like I haven't explored all the RAM conserving tasks that are literally open and available right now to the text to video. Like according to the docs, which like you can do image to video tasks with less than 8 GB of RAM, and even
It's not a hardware issue. It's a workflow and model thing that needs to be worked out, in my opinion. I'm not a complete expert, but I've played around with, like I said, Comfy UI, and even with, before I had a 4090, when I was doing it on 3070s, it just takes a while. But having different workflows and different models to choose from, you can get much different results than what we're seeing right now with just these base models and their, base configurations and basic workflows. So I think that'll go a long way. And I think that's where the area needs to be. It's not that we need these, more powerful GPUs to get the stuff done. That's only just to do things at scale. But without the base underlying, software and workflow, um, having a better GPU is not going to give you any better result.
yeah, like I'm convinced we can like literally once I get these things working, we'll be able to run image to video on all the GPUs on the network. Like we can. I mean, Comfy UI, you can do it with 6 GB of RAM.
Yeah, like I said, it's really just getting the right workflow down and the right models for for the jobs that we're trying to accomplish. But
yeah,
it's not a hardware issue that we're running into right now.
at least not right now. But it does come down to like, can we get these to fit, and then is the end facing product really good? Like are we gonna be able to satisfy people's wants for quality at the sacrifice of speed, and like, is that going to be okay? And I based on the conversations I'm having online, people will sacrifice speed for quality any day of the week. And so, if we can use 1/10 the RAM, but it comes out 100 times slower, like whoop-de-doo, that's still people's preference, right? The other opportunity I thought of when it comes to Livepeer running models was the want for models without guardrails. Right now there's a lot of stink on Twitter about censoring, and there's a whole joke around like, when I pay OpenAI to use their models, am I also paying them for the weights that tell me what I'm not allowed to use? Like, there's this whole debate over the guardrails, and to what degree the guardrails should be in place, and whether they affect political outcomes, blah blah blah. But there is a version of stable diffusion, literally called unstable diffusion. You can go to the Discord channel called Unstable Diffusion, and have fun, looking around with what the hell people are making outside of the bounds of the guardrails. And maybe Livepeer would want to host that. Maybe it wouldn't. I don't really know, right? So yeah, there's lots of angles to this. To be fair.
I mean, there are literally thousands of models available that run in stable diffusion that you can load. I mean, if you go to civet.ai, you'd be blown away if you haven't looked at it, how many different models there are, and most of them are not safe for work, and don't have guardrails on them. So most of them actually give you a warning about that, like just letting you know before you start this, if you want to get not safe for work content prompted, just to let it know you do not want, you don't want not safe for work content. That all works within stable diffusion's a framework. So again, I think it comes down to model, and then again, workflow is a big part of it. I mean, I've seen some people make some amazing stuff using, stable diffusion. It's not simple and easy, and it takes a complicated workflow, which is, that's really the tough part, is figuring out what is the workflow that will work for general use, and give the results that people are expecting. I mean, right now it's an art form. I mean, it takes a lot of work to really prompt things properly, and create the right workflow. I mean, there's a lot of steps that can be put in there, with having I'm blanking out on the term, but all the different steps that could go into, after the prompt that control nets, and a lot of other things that go along with it. But it's not just as simple as a simple prompt at the beginning and you're going to get a great result. You need to have a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes.
Also, I think Yandan might have some ideas about how to distribute a workload for image to video or text to video to different GPUs on different machines, because that would be like the ideal scenario, right? There must be a way to do that, but yes, I agree with you, Titan, that it's probably very technical and deep, but maybe somebody, I think, has an idea how to do that, or how to even maybe start, because if you could distribute the workload, then you don't have to even change the GPUs or anything, right? But as you said, distributing a single frame or different frames amongst different GPUs, I can't even imagine how they could be done, how that could be done.
Someone, I don't have the link handy right now, but I think it was Interpreter, posted a link to a university paper about doing distributed processing on multiple consumer level GPUs. That it was very in depth and in detail, and very technical, a little over my head. But there's definitely people working on that. But
I mean,
it's not off the shelf type stuff right now.
Even if it's just on the same machine, like even if I, as an orchestrator, I could load up, 6 GPUs onto one motherboard and have the inference spread amongst the 6, GPUs. That would be really advantageous.
Nice.
Let me see if I can find it. I'm pretty sure Interpreter posted it in the AI thing a while back. See if I can do a quick search.
Rick says, I haven't followed the conversation due to my thesis deadline, but VRAM is not enough, ? Or do we want to use better models, which the VRAM is not good enough? Rick, just at the beginning, I just talked about the bottlenecks I was running into when running the benchmarking. And currently with the default parameters that Yondon has in his benchmark, even a 4090, like no consumer grade GPU can do it. It just runs out of RAM.
Really?
Yeah. And again, that's also partially goes back to the workflow. There's ways to break it up using different workflows that will load, portions of the job into the GPU at a time, and then
like I said, just default, just what Yondon has put in their default. Like the size of the video, the amount of times it gets, the amount of inferences it does, the model it uses, like just all the just the default stuff he put in. You're gonna need like a commercial size card with like 40 gigabytes of RAM or higher. So my goal right now is just to start exploring the RAM reducing flags that are available in the pipeline. So just like CPU offloading, chunk forwarding, and then chunk size. Just like playing around with those to see how much RAM we can save, what the cost on the inference time would be, and hopefully the quality of the output doesn't change. Yeah, just some update.
Very clear. Yeah, I think I understand it now.
Yeah, so
I think it should be we could be able to overcome that. It should not be happening.
Say it again.
I think we should be able to overcome that. I think.
Yeah. Like I'm in like I basically did what's called the first initial round of data gathering, which was get 20 people to all run the very first version of the benchmark on their GPU, blow things up, get some data back, see what happened, right? That's where we are. Is like, okay, we blew up a bunch of GPUs. Let's start changing things. And so one of my first kind of things to investigate was whether the input prompt changed the requirements of the GPU. And I can conclude that the user input has no effect on the RAM. So that's a good first starting point. There's no randomness from the user, right? So we have a good idea of like statically what we will need. Yeah, just kind of going through the list of things that we would need to do for benchmark.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I sent my benchmark as well. I didn't notice that my GPU ran out of memory.
What GPU do you have?
Yeah, very simple. On 390.
And
so it should have that same
you,
problem.
When did you do it?
1 hour? No, I think 4 hours ago or something.
Have you uploaded your results already?
Yeah, it's in your chat. Let me check it. I can also share it here, I think.
Yeah, share it here. I don't want to click away to private message.
No.
Oh, it's in Titan's benchmark. No.
Yeah, but I can drop it here.
See.
That's for image to video, Rick?
I did all the benchmarks that were in there. So the last two are like the image to video ones, I think. Let me check.
Yeah, so you're.
So I was able to do the image to video, both of them. I had no problem.
Yeah, you were able to. Oh, okay. So it's. And you ran this when? An hour ago?
Yeah, 4 hours ago or something. We can check in the message. So that's why I didn't know the problem, because I didn't have this problem.
Interesting. See, this is why I'm very confused. Why is your GPU pulling half the memory now? Like this is.
Did you? I used the fast flag, but that should be in there. You did as well, right?
No, I iterate through them all. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, but no, this is the problem though. There's something happening where sometimes it's pulling twice. Okay. Yeah, see, this is why I'm confused. Because we have people running the exact same model, the exact same script, and a day later, like if you were to run this yesterday, I bet you the results would be different. And I have no idea why. Other than, has there been updates to Yonden's GitHub repo?
To my knowledge, not this in this pipeline. So it could be that the model on Hugging Face has got an update.
Yeah.
And otherwise, there's some problem that is in there. But that's why I said it. I think it should not be a problem. And even with the videos, it's a technical challenge to put it on multiple GPUs. But in the end, you could design it maybe so that you can make GPUs do part of the videos and combine like one brain and do it like that.
Yeah, see, this is why I'm confused because, one day you run it and you're getting half the RAM, and the next day you run it, you're getting twice the RAM. And I have not identified where that's coming from. So this has been a point of, because one day I was changing the prompts and I was getting double the RAM, and I thought, oh, the prompts clearly affect RAM. But it doesn't. And then it's been like this for a week where it's been double the RAM. And now today it's going back to half the RAM. So like what's changing, right?
Yeah, I checked the commits on Hugging Face, and they didn't do an update since I think 5 February, at least at the Stable Diffusion Image 2 video. So, but it's an important point to look at. Could it be that other hardware components can mess something up here?
But the
It's a
problem is
far
it's
step.
happening on the problem is it's happening on the exact same machine, right? Like if it was if you had a 3090 and someone else had a 3090, why is someone using double the RAM? Okay, we need to investigate that. But what's happening is on my machines, I'm getting 3 gigabytes of RAM on the text to image, and then next week I'm getting 6 gigabytes of RAM, and it's like I didn't change anything, So this has really been messing with my head trying to figure out this benchmarking because there's things. So I'm still trying to figure out how to do what I want to do is once I figure out how to use the CPU offloading and the other memory reducing tasks, I'm gonna add to Yonden's repo maybe a flag that's like auto adjust RAM, and it will determine the amount of RAM on your card, and based on knowledge of how much RAM this model takes, we can start engaging the pipelines to do CPU offloading, and so it will auto adjust your benchmark to the correct memory reducing processes. But if the whole damn thing is changing by two, like I have to figure out this one first. So, but yeah, so there's definitely ways we can work on getting these to work on consumer grade GPUs. It just comes down to investigating.
Yeah, I have not seen it myself. I run it every day now. I did it yesterday and today. I had no problems. And I think the benchmarking tool will be important. If we get enough data, we can find what this bug is. So especially for the runs that it's run out of memory.
So you said you ran this for a few days?
No, I ran it yesterday 2 times and today 2 times, and
And same
for those
results?
times it was fine. Yeah, the other results I have not stored. I think maybe in the bin, because I was debugging your script to see if I could quickly put something in there that it would upload automatically to the Google.
Oh, right.
See,
Yes.
yeah. So I was debugging. So that's why I ran it multiple times.
Yeah, I wonder if it's worth just like exporting it into a CSV file or format, and then
Yeah.
from there you can just copy paste into sheet.
Yeah, that was what my what I was trying to do. So just get the data CSV, then put it at. Yeah, you can just paste it in there. That's one point, and otherwise you can
Or unless we
push it
create
to.
a real database where we want to like gather like a lot more data.
Yeah, a lot. That was a lot more work. But what I was thinking first was, look, if Google has like this API to just push it there. They have this API keys, and if you push the CSV data or something, you can just add another row.
Right. Oh, okay. Right.
So it was just an experiment. That's
Yeah.
why I run it multiple times.
The other thing I'd like to do is add. There's another image to video model that Yondon has added that requires an authentication key that I
Yeah.
haven't bothered to dive into yet. So what I might do, just a question: if you ever want to like say I wanted to get the key and I wanted to be able to hand it out in my binary script, would I just publish the GitHub repo as like enter key here, and then when I go to compile, I just compile it with the key in it?
It depends on the language you're using, but that's the safest way. So, for example, if you use JavaScript, for this you're not going to use in JavaScript, I think Python. So in Python, you can just use the environmental. I don't know how do you compile it.
It's just PyInstaller, so it really
Oh, okay.
it's like it's not super secure, but I'm not too worried about just like some API key to Hugging Face. Like it's not a big deal.
No, they will just limit your account.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. And so, unless you want to decompile my exe to get the PYC file to blah blah blah, like I just don't want it open and I just don't want it available in GitHub, right?
Mhm.
So that's my next. That's also one of my another item on my list is adding another model to the benchmarking.
Yeah, so that I tried it also this morning, I think. So the key from Hugging Face is really simple. So Yonnen already has like an experimental variable you can add the key to. So that's, I think, if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
HF. And I just created a pull request that you can also just use the logging authentication of the Hugging Face client. So you can just use that. And if you're logged in, then you can test that.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. Oh, and just a quick update. So the exact script I ran yesterday, I got 6 gigabytes of RAM on a text to image. Today I'm running it. It's now 3 gigabytes. So we've reverted back to this. Okay, so as of today, your benchmark will probably run on cards with 24 gigs of RAM. It'll get through all jobs. So, hey, we've unlocked
Yes.
the 3090s again.
Yeah, so I think there's no problem there. My max RAM was, I think, 17 or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, then 22 will be enough.
Hugging Face
Could
Cly.
that be because this is like a non-deterministic job and the model takes every time a different time to complete the job? Maybe is this silly? Like maybe the model should be specified to not require this much of RAM, but require this much of maximum RAM, because it could take sometimes this much RAM and sometimes that much RAM, because it's a non-deterministic job. And is it silly to think like this, or? So
I
maybe the
looked into
model
it.
should be the specification on the model should be like this model requires this much maximum RAM, because it might take sometimes half of it, you know.
Yeah, I don't know these. I don't know this. I don't know these things like that deep, right? Like, I mean, this is the purpose of the benchmarking, is to learn all this. You know, are we able to tell a model how much it's allowed to allocate beforehand? Like, I don't know. I haven't dug that deep. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. We're a week into benchmarking, so you know, when it comes to transcoding, we've been benchmarking transcoding for 4 or 5 years, and we got a pretty good idea of what it does now. We're like a week and a half, 2 weeks into this, so we've got a long way to go. But
Yep.
I'm optimistic. It's interesting.
Yeah, I just hope that the nodes won't have to buy those expensive GPUs, because otherwise it's going to be like a dead end, right? Somehow this should. I just hope that this is somehow worked out with the consumer grade GPUs. Like maybe make them work in parallel, or maybe even distribute the workload among different GPUs on the same machine. Somehow, I'm hoping that it could be worked out.
Yeah, well, that's what we're working on. So hopefully we
Yeah.
find some solutions.
Thanks.
Rick, you said you had a Hugging Face token retrieval issue.
Yeah, that's just to make sure that you can also just log in if you use it locally.
Okay.
So now it looks for the environmental flag, and then you can just use the authentication method, and then it will be stored somewhere in your system.
How did you get your key?
That's easy. It's in the interface. So they have API keys. If you create an account at Hugging Face, they just have API keys.
Okay, cool.
So it's really not that that hard. They made a really nice interface. So
just on their website, you mean?
Yeah.
Easy.
I can
sign up. Okay, you have to sign up for a key, and then allow that.
I will send you the documentation.
Add that model to the list of tests.
Yeah, and for this one, you also have to request access. So if there's a link, if you run it, it will, or try to download it. It states that it's the token gated model, and then you can click it, I think, or you can search on it, and then you can request access. So it's a little bit more closed.
The request access to what? Sorry.
Yeah, you have to request access to this model, I think.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah. It's not just an open. Click some button. No, I'll figure it out. Hard to do two things at once sometimes. Talking and doing this.
Understand.
Okay, cool. Well, what we'll do is we're actually over time, 5 minutes over. We'll end it there. Thank you all for coming. For everyone who's in the Livepeer Innovators DAO, we do have a meeting tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to try to keep it quick, 30 minutes, about the final push for the round one, what do you call? Round one retroactive funding. EFIs says, how do I join the DAO? Go to livepeerinnovatorsDAO.com. EFIS. There you go. livepeerinnovatorsDAO.com. Under member resources, there's the button for the application to join. So head over there, fill in the application. livepeerinnovatorsDAO.com. That's the one. Cool. With that being said, thank you everyone for coming. Working to make Livepeer the open and decentralized video infrastructure. We're here to continue on the mission. We will see you next week. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.